What is up, RotoGrinders? Dean here, Dean78904. If you want to get all technical, there's the old school intro. It is 8:42 out here, Central Time. What's up there, Grinders? Hopefully everybody's good to go. 2 slates today. If you messed up in the first one, you can double down on the late one. That's always good times for sure. Blender, we're intruding, we're invading on your turf. Typically, your show goes down 11 o'clock, so this is kind of standard your time. We got thrown off a little bit. At least I got thrown off a little bit. I shouldn't group you in with me, but I thought the show was on in 50 minutes. But turns out what happened is Fanduel is including the 2 early games, and DK is not. Toronto, Tampa, which starts 12:10 East Coast time. That's why we're on a little bit early. We're going to be including the Fanduel conversation, the DK conversation. I should mention Philadelphia, Atlanta, also in that Fanduel slate as well. Jump in if you guys want to play on Fanduel today. I suggest you jump into their lobby now because whatever games they do have available, they're going fast. So if you want to play on FanDuel, I suggest you jump in there pretty quick. Blender, how are things in your world? We've not done a morning show in a while. I feel like you've probably gone on like 3 or 4 different wrestling trips since we've done a show. You've hung out with the likes of Mick Foley and other wrestling people. Did you go to that Ric Flair last fight? Is that what you were doing? I saw
that's exactly where I was at. Yes.
Oh my God! Were you scared for him?
No, I didn't care about him. I'd let him die. Who cares? What does it matter? 73 years old. He's not an upstanding human being anyway. So what do I care? I wasn't going because of that.
I mean, that was the main
convention
event,
there,
right? That
or
was
whatever.
Like a big deal,
right? You're not even in Nashville anymore. What the hell are you now?
I am currently, I'm all over the place. I'm a nomad, but I'm currently in Colorado Springs. That's why. We're on mountain time, man. It's not even 9 o'clock just yet. And I thought I was waking up early and preparing early for the show, and I totally screwed up, and I apologize. But the Fanduel threw a curveball as far as including those first 2 games, and that's where we're at as far as
what are you doing in Colorado Springs? Are you making your way to Grant? I mean, what's going on there?
Grant's dog is literally 1 foot away from me. I am house sitting / dog sitting for Grant because he's currently on his honeymoon traveling around the country.
Oh, okay. So you're there. Oh, okay. So you're doing that for him. Okay. You didn't move there. You're just like, you're not going to be living next to Grant or anything.
I didn't move here, but like I am going to be staying here for probably a little bit longer. Well, definitely a little bit longer. And I'm enjoying it out here. And, I have the flexibility to pretty much just go wherever I want to go, at this point. But I'm a fan. I'm enjoying the sports betting here. It's I'm so far as Colorado's got me sold. I might stick around for a while. We'll see. I don't know, but I'm enjoying it out here. Have you been to Colorado?
Break your lease. Who cares? Leave your stuff. Just let it. Just who cares? Just minimalist. You go.
You'll see it on Storage Wars in a couple of years. They salt those lockers, by the way. Spoiler alert, just so you know, they salt them up. Those are, here's a giant gold bar. Who would have guessed? It's rigged. It's the show. Storage. So I don't mean to ruin it for you. I know it's one of your favorites. Storage Wars is not. It's not real.
You mean the stuff in there is not really from a person?
No. The producers salt it up. They add like this is I don't know. This is the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, or somehow in the store.
Is it like Price is Right? Do they like some of them? They put like goats in or. Like, like horse manure, but they do whenever you have to select the 3 doors, there's like, okay, the brand new car, then it's like the stove set, which is like the middle prize. And the third
You're thinking of Let's Make a Deal, by the way.
What?
You're thinking of Let's Make a Deal.
Let's Make a Deal. Whatever. Price is Right did something like whatever. You understand what I'm saying? They had 3 doors.
Yeah. By the way, according to Diana in chat, they stopped that after there was a lawsuit. So maybe it's legit now. I don't know. I haven't watched Storage Wars forever, but I do remember reading something about how the producers, because you got to keep the show interesting, and they would just throw these random things in there, and it's just like,
what would the lawsuit be? Well, thank you that I don't want to get the extra stuff that you put in there.
I don't know. I'm not sure because reality TV comes with quotes and I know you're sitting down, but like the Kardashians reality when they're like what I really want to do is I want to jump out of an airplane. Hey, my best friend Teddy happens to be in town and he's got an airplane. Let's go. Those are not organic conversations either. Like that's not real. Just so you know. I don't know. Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Apparently, 2020, they lost a lawsuit.
Okay. I know one of the former people that were on the show. Several people had issues also, and maybe the guy had said, "Yep." Maybe he was involved. I don't know if you know the
Now,
tagline.
this was one where someone it was mistakenly put up for auction.
Oh, that's a whole different.
They auction off something that they shouldn't have auctioned off.
Yeah, Shannon's saying in chat, are they suing all reality TV shows because they're all fake? Yeah, a lot of them. The producers, they get their fingers on it, and then they got to spice things up, and you got to make a 22-minute TV show, and if you're going to manipulate some things, obviously, I kind of sort of get it.
It looks like there's multiple lawsuits against Storage War. Why aren't I getting involved in this racket? The Storage Wars racket. Why am I playing DFS when I could just sue reality shows? Let's do this.
There's an implication that like you can quit your job and just go like the different storage units and like, that's how you can make a living. Like there's kind of an implication you can do that. And obviously that's not probably sustainable for a living. I imagine some people did that and probably didn't do well because many times you're just buying nonsense. You're just buying garbage, right? And that's
or nothing, or literally nothing, or there's nothing in there.
Yeah, here's some old newspapers from 1972. Enjoy. And now it's also your responsibility to throw it out too, I believe. I haven't got all the technicalities of it, but I'm not sure if it's a prop. I guess you got to hit on a couple, obviously, to sustain yourself. But I don't think it's an easy living. I would imagine. I don't know. I haven't looked into it too hard. Anybody out there, real life storage war hunters? Let us know in chat.
Ted in chat is saying one of the lawsuits versus the game shows, the guy actually wanted the 2 goats and didn't get them.
I think Ted's making that up.
No, that's what I would do. That's like I picked it. I want the goats. I want.
What are you going to do with the goat?
I don't care. It's the principle of the matter.
I don't want the responsibility of a goat.
They told me that I won something behind door number 3, and it happened to be 2 goats and horse manure. So give me.
They played the sound
put it in a light little let's make a deal shopping bag and let me go.
All right, so let's dive in. Let's talk about today's slate. Again, Fanduel is including those 2 early games. Toronto at Tampa. Jalen Beeks is the opener. Yarbrough, the long man. Kikuchi on the other side. Good matchup as far as pitching. The other, one's at 12-10. The other one's 12-20. Philadelphia and Atlanta. Wheeler versus Morton. Another phenomenal. We have some good pitching on this slate. Luis Castillo, of course, making his debut for the Mariners. It's going to be weird to see him in a Mariner uniform. I feel like he's been a Red forever. He was a Marlin once upon a time. The Marlins dumped him for nothing. When he was,
every good player was either on the Marlins or the Nationals.
Yeah. Oh man, Nationals fans are having it rough these days.
The Nationals could have what? Scherzer, Trey Turner, Juan Soto, Bryce Harper, Anthony Rendon. I mean, like that, they could have been a good team.
Yeah, I mean, they're lucky to get rid of Rendon, but yeah, for sure. There's probably some other guys I'm not even thinking of. Luis Castillo versus Garrett Cole. That's a phenomenal matchup. 7 total in that game going down. Weather-wise, nothing to be concerned with. More of a
no. We got concerns, Dean. Don't poo-poo the concerns.
What did I miss?
We got the concerns in the Royals White Sox game.
You know what? My brain for some reason said that's on the night slate, but it's not. Yeah, you're correct.
It's the most important game on the slate, though.
Yes. My apologies because both the slates kind of like in my brain here kind of meshed together because I've been writing about the night slate and digging into the early slate, and my bad. Yeah, currently orange yellow. I'll go ahead and drop this in chat if you want to read at your own leisure. Roth will be on in what time does Roth come on? About 40 minutes, right? That sounds about right. Roth will be on with TJ, and he'll be on with Cheese Dave Potts, pretty smart guy, 2-time millionaire winner. They'll be taking you guys straight up to the Fanduel lock. If there's more questions, I presume they'll stick around for a little bit beyond. They're not going to go all the way to the DK lock. I promise you that. That's not happening. That's way too far away. DK lock is again they cut off those first 2 games, so 1:00 or 1:05. You want to get all technical. Seattle and the Yankees is their lock time. But yeah, happy to answer your questions, of course, in the RotoGrinders Discord channel for premium members. And if Roth is feeling nice, if he's feeling generous early in the morning, he'll hit up those questions on YouTube as well. We'll save those. We'll answer your questions now, YouTube wise. What is your assessment here as far as the slate? And I don't know what do you want to do with the analysis of KC in Chicago, because
to me that's the most important game on the slate because we got Lance Lynn at 7,300 on DraftKings. We got Lance Lynn at 7,400 on FanDuel, but you may be less likely to use him on FanDuel because you don't need a necessarily cheap pitcher. You probably play Garrett Cole. But on DraftKings, the Royals prices are cheap also. So like in the bat projections, If you run a whole ton of lineups stacks wise, you get a lot of Royal stacks, and you also get a lot of Lance Lynn. Like, obviously not in the same lineups, but like Lance Lynn projects as like the second best point per dollar pitcher on the slate on DraftKings. But the Royals are, I mean, the Royals are, I mean,
how's that lineup looking to you these days?
I mean, the top three are expensive, but then after that, it's all everyone's under 3K. You got Melendez, Witt, Perez, Sal Perez is back. Assuming he's back. I mean, we don't have the lineups in yet. But then you got all the Pascantino, Dozier, Prado, Taylor, Isbell. Lopez is kind of a waste. But I mean, it's not like I trust Lance Lynn. Like, Lance Lynn could get destroyed.
Oakland kind of got to him last time. Like, he had a bunch of strikeouts, but I believe he gave a homer or two against him as well. So, yeah.
But I'm saying it's one of those high variance spots where I could see Lance Lynn putting up 30 DK points or the Royals putting up 8 runs. So, like, it's going to be very important to know whether or not this game is even going to play. According to the weather report, according to Roth's weather report, he thinks there's a line of storms moving through Chicago sometime around first pitch, but it looks more like a delay in play than a full washout because late afternoon and evening are all clear. So obviously that assessment, that's not a weather assessment. That's a what are the teams going to do with the game assessment.
Yeah.
So, like, if the rain comes in early, it's possible this late starts or starts in a delay, and we don't see this game play for another 3 hours from there, or we just see an early postponement, and then we're done. You know,
it's a question of how patient do we think they're going to be, and there's really no way for Roth to guess that, and there's no way for us to guess that, and they are.
But being that it's a day game, you have to expect. I mean, I'm with Roth that if it's not going to rain later, as long as the field holds up, like, then play later. I mean, like, you have all day. There's no. But what's the point in postponing the entire day when you still have play at 7 at night? Who cares?
Do they play tomorrow? Like, these teams don't play each other tomorrow, but yeah, you getaway day. That's why we're playing early. White Sox play at Texas tomorrow, and Boston is home, is on the road at KC. So they both play tomorrow for what it's worth. See how patient they're going to be. And we're still, 2 hours out?
More than that.
No, yeah. We're
way out. That's 2:10 Eastern. So we're still
3 hours
a little over 3 hours away from start time in that game.
Yeah, I mean, Roth is going to do his best. You can pivot to there is a game that's right before it, 5 minutes, I believe, Baltimore and Texas. So maybe have some pivots lined up that way. But
you go to Kyle Bradish instead, or you leave 200 on the table and you play Rich Hill. That's never a good sign. Or Urquidy.
Wait, Rich Hill
for the Red Sox.
Yeah, I don't feel good about that.
I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm just saying that he's available.
Yeah, that's also the same time. Yeah, I was thinking that that game was at a different time. But yeah, okay, they're both at 2:10 on the East Coast, and I'm not excited about play Rich Hill, but like in theory, he should get more than 0 points.
Well, I mean, he's eligible to get negative points.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing about batters. You play bad batter, what's the worst thing that happens? You get a 0. You play bad pitcher, worst thing that happens, negative 23.
It used to be you can get negatives because remember, I think both sites, at least one of the sites, had where you get hit for caught stealing. Remember that was a thing?
Oh, was I playing before when that was happening?
I can't remember if it was both sites or one site would hit you for caught stealing. And if you're old enough, Blender, you probably didn't play this, but many, many years ago, this was wild for sweats when games went extra innings. FanDuel, for every single out you had on FanDuel, you get negative 0.25. So you would have lineups that were like -7. You would be winning tournaments with only guys left. Nobody else is even next to you. And you would, your players would go 0 for 8 in extra innings and you'd lose.
Yeah, that's not a good experience.
No.
Probably the good thing they got rid of that.
Yeah. Which I kind of understand, that's why you would get hit, your guy on the road leading off, always well positioned for 5 at bats. He might get you a negative 1.25.
I made a bunch of money on my opponent getting a foul late in the game in because in a DK soccer you get a half a point negative for a foul. So I was in second place in a small GPP, and then all I'm rooting for in like that late game is like there's 5 minutes to go. It's like I hope this guy just give me a foul, and he got he got a yellow card also, so it was -1.5 points.
Yeah,
so it's like you. Personally, I think for DFS experience, I think they shouldn't even have negative points.
They shouldn't have what?
They shouldn't have negative points at all.
Okay, fair enough. I hear you.
Because do you really want to have to sweat those types of things? The kneel down in NFL games.
Well, don't get me started on that because they shouldn't be kneeling down like that. That's so anticlimactic. I want to talk to the NFL and change the rules. I think you should have to gain positive yards for the clock to keep moving.
Okay, that isn't that bad.
Like what? Who wants to watch 3 plays of kneeling down in 40 seconds and 40 seconds?
Someone that's winning the Millie Maker would.
I believe Boggs he lost that way. He lost a live final seat by his quarterback taking 3 knees, and he lost like 0.1 or something like that. Just brutal. Yeah. Let's just check in on the chat, see what's up with them. They're asking you about Ric Flair competing in his current state or time to hang him up. It's time. That's it, right?
73 years old. He was winded like 90 seconds into a 25-minute match. Get out of here. He deserves to go away. Just go away. No one cares about him. Let's go.
Fantasy Feud and minus points were grounding in double play. Yes, I remember that. And also, if you're old enough to Draft Street, if you'd miss free throws. So like it was the worst having like DeAndre Jordan on Draft Street when he'd be like 3 for 12 from the free throw line. Yeah, Diana says by first time here, more like a history lesson than info. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the slate. There's plenty of time. We're gonna knock it out in a second. We're gonna dive in here. By the way, not playing baseball today, at least not at the start of the game, is Aaron Judge. Just of note there for the Yankees. Makes life a little bit easier for Luis Castillo. That lineup for the Yankees, not nearly as dominant in the absence of Judge. Rizzo, LeMahieu, Carpenter, Donaldson, Benintendi, Torres, Gleyber Torres, Hicks, IKF, and Higashioka is the lineup there for New York. Trying to see anybody else of note. Who else of note is not playing baseball that you've noticed?
I don't know. All these lineups are coming in. Okay, so Luis Robert, JD Martinez is not in the lineup. I just wait for the lineup HQ to update. So once I see the update, it's like JD Martinez projection was removed. Luis Robert projection was removed. Okay,
yeah, he's going to be out for I think 60 days. He might be done with the season. Yeah, we're not going to see him for a while. That White Sox season, what an absolute disaster for them. But yeah, cross them off the list for the foreseeable future. No Yoli Gurriel for Houston. And Bayo was starting earlier today, at least late last night, and he's been replaced by Rich Hill for Boston. Your thoughts, general thoughts as far as the slate. Again, a little bit different on DK than it is on FanDuel. DK is throwing out those first 2 games. Garrett Cole is so easy to get. Of course, Seattle is without J-Rod. Their lineup is not as strong these days. They're also missing their first baseman. I'm losing his name for some reason in my head. He's dealing with injuries also.
France.
Thank you. They called up Kelnick. Kelnick,
that was awful. I had his prize pick. All he had to do was get on base, and he didn't.
Yeah, well, it's not that easy. You can't steal firt sometimes, but yeah.
And then he got pinch hit for, and then that guy hit a home run. Like, what was the point of that? I need my prize picks. Dean, do you know I've been doing prize picks recently?
I do not know that. Grant is calling me right now. Great. I will have to call him after the show. My apologies for not turning my phone off.
Here's the power of the problem with prize picks, the good and the bad of prize picks. Prize picks has, if you're really judicious, you could find really bad lines there. The problem is you got to find at least 2 of them. Like you need to find at least 2 bets that are at least minus 137.
Yes. If
you could do that, then you could be profitable. So like yesterday, I woke up early today, and I found Urquidy over 4K in the bat. He was projected from higher than that, enough so that four line should have been a minus 155 or something. It's now on PrizePicks at 4.5, so it's gone. So don't even bother going there anymore. But I'm like, I've been looking for stuff like that. But you have to realize, like, I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total from baseball on PrizePicks. You know how many things they have?
Yes.
For baseball? Okay, so understand that those are the only 7. So
you got to take the time to find the holes and find like the minus 155s.
Right.
And
Or at least minus one. Your combination of twos need to have a total of minus 137 or above. So basically like 57.8% implied probability. And then you get paid. That's a break-even point.
Because they don't
that's
pay
all.
true odds
That's
on
all I've
parlay.
been doing. And what I do, Dean, is I round robin everything.
Yeah.
So it's a pain in the ass. Sometimes you have 35 little 2 picks or whatever, because you want to. The reason why you do that is because you just want to take advantage of the bad lines as much as possible. I don't care how many I get right or wrong. I just want to get paid on as many of them as possible. So it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm not going to, I found 5. Let me put all 5 together. It's like, no, if I found 5, I'll put 1 with 2, 1 with 3, 1 with 4, 1 with 5, 2 with 3, 2, and just go around, with the same bet size.
What did you find today? Tell the people what you found today.
Okay, what I found today on PrizePicks. And I do this comparing to the bat. So as of right now, the best line, the bat has Mike Minor. Mike Minor's median. Let's see. I'll reload it. Mike Minor, 34 fantasy points because they use Fanduel scoring. Mike Minor is at 34 on the bat. His PrizePicks is 24.5.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a difference of nearly 39%.
That's good enough.
No, that's great. Right.
Yeah.
That's good enough. So that's easily a minus 137 or better bet. And then as far as total bases, here's some if you want to take a flyer on, because a lot of times they're off on the total bases for the crap players that are only at 0.5. Most of the total bases picks at PrizePicks that are at 1.5 are never priced, are never a minus 137. Typically, they're awful. Typically, if you're going to bet on pick any of them, you're going to do the under. But Derek Hall over a half total base, Lewin Diaz over a half total base, and Laureano over a half total base. All of them are off by over 30%, according to the bat. If you referred to the total bases in the bat.
What about correlating? You ever correlate when they have
you can't really. You can't put the only things that you could correlate on PrizePicks in baseball is if you do those home run little things.
Yes. Yeah. Like you could have Aaron Judge in the home run triangle and then like over 1.5 bases for Aaron Judge. And like, obviously,
right.
You homer, you knock out 2.
And you need to have a third thing in there because they won't let you do it in a
correct.
But the problem with that is those home run things are never advantageous.
Well, I mean, with Aaron Judge, I know what you're saying. Like you can't.
No, I'm just saying, like once you combine the odds of the all you have to do is go to the home run odds, like in the bat or something like that, and then combine them to like at least one of these 3, and you do a permutation calculator, and it'll come out. A lot of times these come out to somewhere between 47 and 53%, and which means the over or the under is not going to be minus 137. You're going to need 58% or 42% or something like that. So like, even though that it is correlated to like the total basis for Aaron Judge ends up being a minus 112 anyway. So like, you're not combining a minus 112 with like a minus 122 because you're still only getting paid 2-1 on a 2 pick. So you wouldn't be using them anyway. So like, I found that finding those types of things, those home runs, I've done the computation on the home run ones for the past week, and I've never found one that was worth playing.
Grant, by the way, was calling me, knowing I was an Aaron. He just wanted me to say doggy style. He's like, Dean, say doggy style. So there you go, Grant. Shout out, Grant. He was, I'm sure, referencing his lovely dog. It's right next to me. Hey, dogs. Sleeping by my foot.
Just for the people in the chat, I know Adam's in here talking about like props or whatever for prize or whatever, wherever it is. I'm not giving you what I think is going to happen. All I'm doing is compared to the bat projections, what lines are more than minus 137? Because you could go through the bat and see like, okay, Kikuchi, like someone's putting in Kikuchi. Okay, because Kikuchi is 5.5 on PrizePicks according to Adam. I could go there and check. So if I go to the bat projections, or whatever projections, you make your own projections. And I go to Kikuchi's K prop Ks is 6.22 in the bat. Okay? His line on PrizePicks is 5.5. What do you need in order to win that on PrizePicks? You need a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 5.5 doesn't matter because you can't actually score 5.5 strikeouts. So it's 6. So the K projection is 6.22 as a median, which means a 50th percentile outcome. So what's percentile outcome is 6, because you need 6 in order to win. If 6.22 is the median, 6 is at like the 53rd percentile. You need like the 57.5. You need the 58th percentile in order for that to be a profitable pick, because of the way that PrizePick pays out fixed odds on these parlays. So even though 5.5, and this is at 6.22, it's not profitable.
Yeah,
because you're not getting paid. If this was a sportsbook parlay, like if this was like if you could go to
minus 110.
That's a different story. Because PrizePicks, you're getting 2-to-1 odds on a 2-pick, no matter what. You're getting 4-to-1 on a 3-pick, no matter what odds, what picks you choose. So, like, you need to find your total parlay needs to be in implied probability 57.5% or more, because that's what you're getting paid. That's to break even. So it doesn't matter that this number is higher than that number, right? It needs to be high enough. If Kikuchi's K projection in the bat was like 6.8, then you could do it, right? Then the percentile goes up past the 58th percentile, and you're fine. So it's not just a matter of what's higher or lower. Like, yes, it's 53% of the time Kikuchi throws more than 6 strikeouts. The problem is you're not getting paid those odds on PrizePicks.
Texas lineup just came out a few minutes ago. Roof's going to be closed there in Minute Maid for what it's worth. Texas lineup: Semien, Seager, Heimbet in third, Lau, Garcia, I think that's low, Garcia, Tavares, Duran, Smith, Culberson. We just got the Baltimore lineup. Mullins leading off. Richmond is playing the day game after the night game because he's DHing. Santander, Mountcastle, Urias, McKenna, Mateo, Nevin, and Chirinos is the true catcher there. How are you handling Garrett Cole? Garrett Cole, best pitcher on the slate. His projection is actually pretty close to Shane Bieber. We'll talk about him in a second. It looks like that's going to be something that people are going to be just combining those two on DK and just making stuff work. The pitching's pretty good.
Not me.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm getting at, because you like to zag when everybody zigs. And Garrett Cole right now on DK, currently the 53% ownership percent. Of course, obviously got to roster 2 of those guys, and you're losing the first 2 games. So there's only 12 guys throwing baseballs from the start. Bieber at 46%, and Martin Perez, who's never fun or comfortable to roster, kind of annoying the roster against. He's kind of a magician. He never seems to implode, but also he's not a guy that's going to strike out the world. Lynn at 18%. We talk about those rain concerns. Roth will come on 20-ish minutes or so. Let you guys know what's going on there. Joe Ryan is cheap, and he's facing Detroit. Detroit is horrendous against right-handers. Any right-hander. We saw yesterday even Chris Archer in the year 2022 thrived against them. Somebody asked yesterday about Archer and Cash. We're like, no. Well, he was great. I hope that person just went ahead and said screw y'all. But you're not supposed to play Archer and Cash pretty much at any point. On DK, again, you got a roster 2 on FanDuel. You include those Toronto, Tampa games, where that's 1 game, and then Philadelphia, Atlanta. That doesn't change a ton. Morton's grabbing around 8%. Wheeler's grabbing around 8%. 2 pretty good pitchers, 2 pretty good offenses. Certainly interesting for your tournaments. I think those are probably good pivots on FanDuel. Again, they're not at your disposal on DK. Play Garrett Cole. He's the biggest KI on the slate. I know last time out he scuffled, gave up a 3-run, 4-run homer. Kids go out to a grand slam against Sal Perez. Just a weird, wonky inning where his defense wasn't an error, but kind of sort of let him down. But he's still the best guy. And there are plenty of Ks in that Seattle lineup. It's backloaded, but there are a lot of guys that strike out a good bit with Kelnick, Torreyes, Haggerty, Suarez as well. It sounds like you're not playing Cole. Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm not playing Bieber. According to the bat has Cole 8 points higher projected, median-wise. Cole over Bieber. So, like, yeah, I'll play Cole in that scenario. I'll barely have any Bieber If we're going by the bat, if you go by the plate IQ projections, it's only a 3-point difference.
That's what I'm looking at. Okay, I thought that was too close. And okay, so it depends where you're shopping as far as your projections. I felt like Cole distanced himself a little bit more than Bieber, and then that's
yeah. But the bat has been has been the lowest on Bieber throughout since his return. So I mean that's at least consistent with like the bat. Like I knew coming into today that I saw Bieber. It's like the bat's not going to like Bieber.
Yeah,
and also the bat is typically a little bit over on Urquidy. So most likely I will be playing a bunch of. I mean, I'm only playing 5 lineups on DraftKings, so like a bunch. Out of my 5 lineups, I could see myself playing Cole in 4, if not 5 of them. Only because he projects 8 points higher. He projects 6.5 points higher than Martin Perez. I mean, like he projects so much higher than every other pitcher that even at 55% ownership or whatever the hell he's going to be, it's going to be hard to make lineups that don't just drop projection off the cliff without playing him. And you don't need the salary. I mean, like we have plenty of cheap hitters. It's a 6-game slate on DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could do whatever you want, pretty much. I mean, play whatever 2 pitchers you want. In fact, if you play 2 cheap pitchers, you may have to leave money on the table because there just aren't people to pay up for. If you're stacked, if you're doing some type of stack, obviously one-offs you could just pay up forever in every slot. But that doesn't. If you're stacking the Guardians, it's like sure, yes, you're right. You could play Jose Ramirez, but like after him, it's like, well, what else are you doing, right? Oh, I'm going to stack the Guardians with 5 guys, but like half of them are like under like Owen Miller's 2,800. Like you have to spend your money somewhere. So like
Franmil's in the minor leagues, by the way. I'm not sure if you missed that.
Yeah, no, I saw he got designated for assignment. Good. I don't have to worry about
DFA'd? I thought it was the minors. He was DFA'd?
No, I faded Franmil Reyes on like every slate. He's like 2,200 on Fanduel. He's like 2,800 on DraftKings. He's popular like in single entry stuff and in cash games. And it's like I'm just fading him because he's too high owned for his projection and just every time he comes up, I'm like, just Franmil, please don't hit a home run, and he didn't, so it was good for me. So I want Franmil back. I want it so I can continue fading him for cheap.
No Yuli Gurriel in that Houston lineup. They did Mancini and Vasquez are both going to have their first start. They pinch hit yesterday. Vasquez starting his old team there in Boston, batting in the 8 hole. Mancini batting 7th. What lineup are we waiting for? Kansas City not out just yet. Arizona not out just yet. Minnesota not out just yet. Buxton's been dealing with an injury. Maybe they're waiting on that. But keep an eye on such things.
I see myself playing a lot of Twins today.
You don't care if Buxton's in or not. You're stacking the Twins. They still have plenty of other pieces. Miranda's pretty solid.
You even need to play Buxton. Don't play Buxton. Who cares?
Well, he's good. Like he's
okay. But it's not like if I can't play Buxton in my 5-man stack, then you can't play the Twins. Of course you can.
You want to play Tim Beckham, like the number 1 pick, like 10 years ago?
No, but you got Correa, you got Polanco, you got Gary Sanchez in there. Why not?
Yeah. There are some pieces for sure.
Urshela.
Yeah.
Jose Miranda. I mean, this. I mean, even if Buxton, I prefer it if Buxton doesn't start because then the stack is so much cheaper. You don't have to worry about it. I want to play Jose Miranda batting 4th and Urshela batting 5th. I mean, yeah, maybe you're not playing Jake Cave or something, the bottom of the lineup. But I'm looking at the Twins. If that game plays the Royals White Sox game,
yeah,
like both sides, like Lance Lynn or the Royals, I think that's a high variance situation. One of them comes out ahead. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I like the prices, especially as a road team, because they're guaranteed 9th inning at bats, and like all these guys from 4 to 9 are like under 3K. So it's like even if you want to play. And Melendez is outfield eligible on DraftKings, so you can play Sal Perez and Melendez together. So even if you want to stack 1, 2, 3 and pick 2 hitters from 4 through 9, I think that's absolutely doable. They only have a 3.8 implied team total, so I'm going to think that Lance Lynn is going to be more popular than the Royals. But this is what concerns me, Dean, is that even with the rain, that how many people get off when that an hour before, even before lock. They go, the game is going to be late start. Are people going to come off of Lynn? Because the Royals become much, much better to me the more Lynn is owned. So if people are going to be scared about that game due to rain and not play Lynn, I'd almost prefer to play Lynn then at that point than play the Royal stack and then hope that it's a 3-hour delay and then they play completely through, something like that. But we've also seen teams warm up pitchers and then just scratch them, right? Because it's like, oh, we're going to play. And then but being that Chicago is the home team, that's less likely to happen because aren't they the home team more in control of that?
As far as whether the home team makes a decision until the official game time starts, and once the official game time starts, then it's up to the umpires. It's their discretion.
Okay, but I'm saying if this rain starts coming in early, it's be more likely for the home team to say, hey, we're gonna late start this, so Lance Lynn doesn't go out and even do his warm ups.
I would think so. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
By the way, Michael Harris was a scratch for Atlanta. I'm not sure who was added. Arcia and Heredia batting 8-9. Probably one of those two is my guess.
Dean, did you hear the Kirk Dees' strategy that worked? That if you went back in time would have worked.
What strategy is that?
The Kirk Dees' strategy. This is what you do when you play MLB DFS. Okay, if you plan on playing the Braves in MLB DFS, just make a lineup with Acuna and then replace Acuna with Michael Harris, and then you win everything.
Harris has been spectacular, and Acuna's not been amazing. Yeah.
Just change the projections around. Whatever Acuna and Harris's projection, just switch it. It doesn't matter that Harris bats 9th. Doesn't matter. Just switch it around, and that's how you win. So Acuna gets Harris's projection, and Harris gets Acuna's projection.
Yeah, B Shot in chat is saying maybe Grossman. I guess Grossman's not ready just yet. I'm not sure. They just traded for Robbie Grossman, but he's not in the lineup. They did update it. It's Acuna, Swanson, Olsen, Riley, Rosario, Ozuna, Contreras, Arcia, and Heredia. So I'm not sure if he's not there just yet. I'm very hopeful that Soto plays tonight because I'm writing him up, and there's nothing more tilting than you got to rewrite another blurb. He's playing tonight versus Chad Kuhl. Hopefully he plays at least. I see TJ in chat. TJ is going to be coming on and begging and groveling for likes. Let's knock those out before they come on. We just have a conversation regarding the slate. TJ and Dave, Cheese, they're going to be going around the horn, get their favorite plays position by position, a more traditional conversation regarding, but we're going to hit everything we can possible. I see some questions in chat. I'm going to ask Blender in a second about them, but do hit that like button kindly. We'd appreciate that. Subscribe, turn on those notifications. This is number 1 of 2 shows. Later on, we're going to have the traditional 5 o'clock starts on the East Coast. Let's see. Singer as a DK2 SP on DK as an SP2, and again, there's weather concerns. Is Singer somebody's in the conversation for you? We talked about Lynn.
He's in there. He's around. Sure, why not?
Yeah, that's the kind of the answer I figured I'd get from you. It's like maybe, I guess.
To me, there's there's pitchers that you just don't play, and then everything else is you can. I mean, like Tommy Henry, Tyler Alexander, and Rich Hill are to me, Rich Hill is just how many pitches he's going to pitch?
Nick Mountain, yeah, he's like 40 these days, isn't he?
Right, but I'm saying he hasn't pitched in a while. So I mean, what's his pitch count?
And he's facing Houston, and the Houston lineup got better. No, I'm not playing Hill. He did pitch.
But, from my personal lineups, I think Bieber is overowned for DraftKings. I think Castillo, I don't think is unnecessary. I mean, he'll be low owned for he's facing the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, but he has strikeout stuff. He also has stuff to give up 8 runs, but I mean that's a different story. I mean, Kyle Bradish, I'm not. Most of my lineups will be Cole, Martin Perez, Urquidy, Lynn, Ryan, Singer. Like I think outside of Cole, to me, there's Cole. Then underneath that, it's Lynn, Perez, Ryan, Urquidy, and Singer. And if you like one of feel free. They're so close in projection. Martin Perez has a slightly higher projection than the rest, but he also has more ownership than slightly more than the rest. And they're all around the same. Like I have Lance Lynn at 17%, Ryan at 19%, Urquidy at 16%, Singer at 14%. And they're all projected 15, 16, 17 median. So it's kind of feel free to either close your eyes and pick one or just pick whichever one you like best. Cole Perez is to me the top combination, but also the highest owned combination.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to play some Castillo and Cole, and I don't need 2 wins. It's all right. I'll just get a bunch of strikeouts. That's definitely a lineup construction I'm going to throw out there today. Your favorite stack is Minnesota. Besides Minnesota, who else are you looking at as far as stacks?
Kansas on DraftKings, Kansas City. But like I said, it really depends on how high Lance Lynn's ownership is going to be. If Lance Lynn's only going to be 17% owned, I almost prefer to play Lynn rather than the Royals stack. But if I'm like, let me run.
It'll be less though. Like it's weather dependent, and there's really, of course, the projections don't know that, and they don't know how it's going to turn. So it could be 0. We'll see.
Right, it could be 0. You're right. Absolutely, it could be 0.
I
think Minnesota won.
By the way, Gavin Sheets was scratched for Chicago. Their updated lineup is Anderson, Vaughn, Jimenez, Abreu, Moncada, Pollock, Harrison, Zavala, and Engel.
They get up this early in the morning. How are they still scratching people from lineups?
Well, La Russa just woke up from his nap. So, like, he's wait a second. Who did I put in the lineup? I'm sure you saw the clip of La Russa falling asleep at the game the other day.
Yeah. Why was he falling asleep? Well, yeah.
Well, he's like 80. Well, why? It's baseball.
He falls asleep with some of the decisions he makes. What's
really
up? How does he like it's 1-1 count and it's just like, okay, intentional walk or something like.
No, he intentionally walked somebody in a 1-2 count.
Right. Yeah, it was something like that.
Insane.
And then the reporters were asking afterward, and he was acting like they were the idiots.
Yeah.
If you don't know why, then you don't know. You're senile.
Yeah, but like he's buddies with the owner and he's not going to get fired, I guess. And that's that. And I mean, look, he's 80 years old. He's traveled around the country. Like, you ever talk to an 80-year-old? Like, that's what you're dealing with.
When am I ever talking to 80-year-olds?
I don't know. You have family members? No idea. I'm not privy to your personal life.
Yeah, but the stacks, it's looking like Kansas City, Minnesota, and Cleveland. Just from running lineups. Through and looking at ownership. I just ran 100 lineups just to see.
Bieber versus Castillo. Who do you prefer amongst those two?
Who?
Bieber versus Castillo.
Neither. Probably Castillo only because of lower ownership. Because their projection looks similar enough. Like Castillo 15.75, Bieber 18.67, but Castillo is going to be like 3 times less owned. So like, yeah, I'd rather take for ownership purposes, I'd rather take a shot on Castillo. And for ownership purposes and leverage purposes, I wouldn't mind taking a shot on the Diamondbacks. Maybe not a 5-man stack, but maybe 3, a 3er or a 4er. I think Arizona on Fan. What is Fanduel going on? How old is Bieber going to be on Fanduel?
Say it again.
Bieber isn't going to be as owned on Fanduel. Because you only have to play one pitcher and you're probably playing Cole. So I guess Arizona is better on DraftKings, only because people are forced to play 2 pitchers, and you can get a Cole Bieber lineup.
One of my rules in this slate is if you have 2 first names, I'm not playing you. Tommy Henry, no. Tyler Alexander, no.
You're not playing Joe Ryan?
Yeah, I think I can play Joe Ryan. I might have an exception to the rule. I forgot about that Ryan was a first name. Actually, you know what? Garrett Cole is 2 first names, isn't it? It's a 2 first name slate. You could be.
Yeah, you're right. Cole could be right. Anything could be right. Austin Riley, you're not playing him?
I got a cousin named Urquidy.
His first name?
I'm just going along with the bit.
Oh, but Austin Riley. Riley is a first name, and Austin.
Well, it was a pitching theory, but yeah, fair enough.
So this is only for pitchers. You never roster pitchers with 2 first names.
But yeah, basically I was just saying I'm not, there's 12 guys throwing baseballs on DK. I'm not playing Tommy Henry. I'm not playing Tyler Alexander. What's your thoughts on Ryan? Because, Detroit, we know, well, let's do it. Let's pull up the plate IQ as far as Detroit. This should be like NC 17 or something like that. It's going to be bad. It's going to be brutal. They don't even walk either. Like, they're all basically in the red as far as walking too, 5.9% collectively walking. Isolated power, not one person in the green, not one. WOBA, not one person in the green as far as it's so bad. Joe Ryan is fine, professional pitcher. He has his ups and downs. I think he's coming off a start where he absolutely got his face punched in, if I'm not mistaken. People like get afraid of that. Yeah, he gave up 10 earned runs his last time out. That would qualify as metaphorically getting your face punched in. But previous to that, he's been fine. Like he's okay. And I'm fine playing Joe Ryan. How about yourself?
I'm fine with him only because he's in this mix of like SP2 ownership where he's not owned enough where I want to stack the Tigers against him. And so I'd rather just play like to me in my 5 lineups, I'm more likely to spread out the pitchers. Like if I have Cole in all 5 of my lineups, that maybe 1 or 2 have Ryan, 1 or 2 have Urkai. Like all these other guys are just like the other guy in, and whichever one fits. But like if you told me Ryan was going to be 35% owned and not 19% owned, then I'd be much more likely to not play Ryan and just play one of the other guys and then play a Detroit stack in one of my other lineups. Like it's just that none of these SP2s, I think if anyone, it would be Martin Perez. Like the only SP2, like to me, the only 3 pitchers on DraftKings that are getting enough ownership where stacking against them will give you enough leverage is Cole. If you play the Mariners against Cole, which I'm not doing, Bieber, Arizona against Bieber, which I may do, maybe not as the 5-man stack, but maybe as a 2 or 3-man. And then Martin Perez at like 25, 26%. If you want to play the Orioles against Martin Perez, like you get a decent amount of leverage because he's probably going to be like 25-ish% owned.
By the way, that's popping a BetIQ as well. Not to cut you off, but that's popping as far as the Baltimore lineup being pretty vulnerable. Not a lot of power. Mateo Santander. Besides that, not a ton of power. Mullins is really good, but it's left on left for Mullins. Rishman in a small sample hasn't smashed lefties. I think he's going to eventually. He's going to be just like, I think that guy's going to be rock solid, like a future multiple All-Star. But there's a lot of strikeouts in that lineup. That's kind of the point I'm getting at, especially the back end. 26.2% collectively striking out versus lefties this season for Baltimore. Again, Martin Perez, not this great. Case Avant, 20.9%. It's not horrendous, but whatever his projection would typically be, bump it up a little bit. And by the way, Lance Lynn, also 2 first names. My theory was terrible. Forget that terrible theory because if the
you're not going to be able to play any pitchers on the slate then.
Yeah, I forgot Lynn was a first name as well. Let's see what else is going on. This is an interesting just point here mentioned in chat by Anon, and I don't know if I agree with it because he says, I love that if Cole fails, you're instantly top 10%. Well, not really, because the guys you're playing can fail too. The other guys have to be good. Like the guys you're playing instead of. You can't just say, I'm not playing X. You got to say who's Y that's going to be good.
And if Cole fails to some that much of an extent, you bet then it looks like the Mariners stacks the ones that win.
Diana in chat is saying there's no chance. I don't know if this is a Roth update or it's our own personal forecast. No chance of rain in Chicago, comes in later. Roth should be knocking on the door and coming in shortly. He'll let us know what's going on weather-wise. Has he updated his article, or is that to...
How have you guys continued this for 2 first name bits for so long and didn't mention Garrett Cole?
We did. You weren't listening.
You mentioned it.
We talked about it.
You're talking about Lance Lynn and Joe Ryan. Like, you're not playing any pitchers on this slate.
No, you must have stepped out and got yourself some.
That must have been when I was walking downstairs. Yeah,
the show continues when you're walking downstairs. When you tune out, we don't. Oh wait, TJ's not listening. Let's take a break. I'm gonna sip my coffee.
I don't know if it continues, Dean, because we only got 32 likes, so it sounds like I'm coming over there to dye that mustache pink since he didn't hit 50.
I can give you a comb if you want. Is there not a comb available in Canada? Is that
No, they don't exist. I'm going for that bedhead look. You know what I mean?
Well, it's an ungodly hour here in Colorado. It's 9:30 in the a.m. In Saskatoon, I believe. Is it 9:30 or is it 8:30?
9:30, same as you.
Oh, good Lord. How do who functions like this? Cheese, you've probably been up like 4 hours writing the musings, I imagine.
Exactly 4 hours. Yes. I got out of bed at 6:31. I woke up at 6:17 and I was like, well, this is ridiculous. But I started last night, so we're okay.
And you're like, wait a second, Teo got scratched. Damn it. I got to rewrite this. Rich Hill overnight. Hey, Roth, is that true? Can you confirm Diana's weather report there in chat as far as Chicago? What's going on there?
Hey, what's happening? I fully disagree with Diana. I appreciate her watching and I respect her, but I do not agree with her weather foretake.
So tell us what's going on. How dicey is it going to be?
Forecast. Foretake. So I think maybe Diana's looking at weather.com and it does show one line of storms fading out and then another one popping in like the middle of the afternoon. But it's got to get from here to there. It's not just going to magically jump like it's showing on weather.com. And as it moves from spot to spot in the middle of the afternoon, that's when it likely moves into Chicago, which would be, early to middle of the game. So I disagree. I think there's a pretty good chance that we get a delay.
As a general thought, Roth, how do you feel about the weather.com and people that use weather.com as their source?
It's fine. It's better than nothing. But if I hate when I do a forecast and then people go, no, I looked at weather.com. That's not right. You don't think I looked at that? Like, you don't think that's one of the 10 different sources that I have looked at? So it's fine. It's better than nothing, but it is not the gospel.
You got some fancy apps you got to pay for, right? And you have all sorts of contraptions.
Yeah, and there's high resolution model data out there that's a lot better than weather.com that I look at. So without that, you're just
Roth, what I try to explain to people also is that your job to do the weather for us, for RotoGrinders, is like infinitely harder than the like when they say the weather people always on TV, they tell me to get an umbrella and it doesn't rain. It's like these are people on TV that need to predict rain for an entire metropolitan area. You have to predict rain for a 1 square mile block inside of that metropolitan area. Yeah. And when you say, like in Atlanta, where it's like, oh yeah, there's stuff there, and maybe you get a pop up over the ballpark, but like, and people look at you, and when it happens and go, well, it didn't happen or it didn't happen. It's like, well, good luck. You're trying to find a needle in a haystack there.
It's my favorite is when there's the 10 or 20% chance that it's going to storm, and you tell people that, and you're like, it never happens. It never happens. You're always wrong. And then it does happen. And they're like, why didn't you tell us this was going to happen? I guess it's a 10% chance every time, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
I can't remember what comedian was doing it, but that's one of my favorite bits about how like being a weatherman is the easiest job. And obviously it's not, no, I know since working with you, but like it's the easiest job. You can just say it's 40% chance, 50% chance. You're right all the time.
Yeah, I hate that bit, but it's not unlike being a baseball analyst, really.
Right.
Yeah.
We're wrong more than 20% of the time in baseball.
Let's talk about what we want here in Chicago. Do we want pitchers there?
We want everything. We want both pitchers and both offenses. Like it's really one of those weird games where you kind of want everything.
No pressure.
Okay. All right. Well, Dino, you want to step aside and we'll talk more about it here?
Yeah, myself and Blender, we're going to step aside. We're going to yield to TJ and Dave, the Fanduel sponsor, Crunch Time with Kevin Roth. He's going to hit. He hits the weather 60% of the time. It's right every time. That's
right. 60% of the time it works every time.
Sex Panther. There you go. Also sponsored by Sex Panther today for no particular reason. Roth, take it over.
Smells like your gasoline.
Smells like Bigfoot. Well, no, I can't say that one. Hey, let's welcome to it, guys. This is indeed Crunch Time, sponsored by FanDuel. If you haven't gotten in the FanDuel single entry series, you got to do it. It's back and better than ever. $50K in bonus cash up for grabs. We're into the second week now. You still have 5 chances to win. Top 4 scores each week count towards your combined score. And then whoever gets the highest combined score, or the top finisher in each series, gets an all expenses paid trip to the single entry series championship in Chicago on September 9th. Shot at a $10,000 grand prize. So essentially, you're winning because you're winning the tournament, and then you're winning bonus cash, and then you're going to a live final to win more bonus cash. It's a very good thing that they've got going on. So make sure that is filling up. And I guess I'll just get back to the weather, Cheese.
Yeah, I mean, it's really very important, honestly.
Okay. I would not play pitchers unless they late start. And we're not going to know. That's the issue, right? They're not going to call a late start because this game is still far away.
Yeah. So for the FanDuel slate, it's a big deal because the game's an hour away. The DK slate, it's 2 hours away for FanDuel. It's 1 hour after the start of the DK. But like for the FanDuel slate, really the pitching pivot most likely is going to be Charlie Morton, who's in the first game. So yeah, it doesn't really help you. So
if we could get news in an hour, you do have the Joe Ryan pivot if you want to play Brady Singer on FanDuel. I have a lineup right now that just fits so beautifully with Brady Singer, and especially with Gavin Sheets getting scratched. I have even more interest in him there. And so I'm tempted to wait an hour and see if we get a late start and then just pivot to Joe Ryan if we don't. But after this early report, I might just go double Cole based on these projections we have in the bat.
Do you have a best guess if they start on time, how long they might play before a delay?
I think if they start on time, a delay could happen early. That's the concern, is that like it could happen in the first 3 innings, and it would probably be a 2-hour delay. It's not going to be, a quick little delay.
Yeah. Well, that's all very bummerish. I guess what I will say on FanDuel, I think you plan on just don't use pitchers there. It's not like you need them anyway. I mean, we have Garrett Cole on the slate.
Yeah.
So, and we have Wheeler and Bieber and a cheap Charlie Morton and Joe Ryan. Like, yeah, I think it'll be more relevant on DK where you don't have as many games or as many pitchers. But I'm going to say I just don't think it's necessary on FanDuel with what you're saying.
Yeah, it's pretty risky to lock yourself into that this far out. And maybe it'll work out. I'm not saying this is definitely that pitchers are screwed, but until I either know that the Storms are going to miss or that they're going to late start and let the Storms go through, you don't want to lock yourself into playing a pitcher there because there's a legitimate chance of an early and long delay. So I think that is dicey. And so on DK, we've got an extra hour to try to figure it out.
Correct.
Okay. Well, then I will... I'll monitor that. Someone said, hey, Roth, is these minus 63% for ERA in Minnesota accurate on Weather Edge? It is accurate, but the sample size is 1 game. So, yeah. So always look at the sample size. Like that is what happened in the 1 game that's played under similar weather because I think they've got really strong winds blowing side to side there.
It's hot and the winds are blowing straight out in Minnesota.
Okay. So it's great hitting weather. The issue is we just haven't seen many similar weather games. So it's a 1 game sample size. So throw out everything, it's irrelevant.
Yeah. There was a ton of runs scored in that game. The ERA was just really good. I think the pitchers were super good in that game. And if you go to Weather Edge right now, it's like 60% dew points, 16% mile an hour winds, blowing straight out. Had to get the dew point first for Kirk Dees. And 85 degrees. So it's good hitting weather, but it's a 1 game sample.
Exactly. Well said. Okay. So as far as bats go in Chicago, I think I would play them, especially if it's not a situation, and I guess it's not, where you're locked in if you make that choice, right? Cheese, you have more flexibility with the bats.
Correct. And there's 2 other games with plenty of offense that start at the same time.
Great. So then for now, I don't think you have to fade the bats. You can play them. And if something looks ugly, we can reevaluate. But right now, I just think it's too dicey for pitchers if you need to know right now, which on FanDuel, I guess you do. So that's where I'm at with weather. We've got another ugly game tonight, but we don't have to worry about that yet.
True that.
Are we gonna want that game tonight? Cheese, tell me that no one wants to play St. Louis tonight in any capacity.
People absolutely do want to. It's a relevant game. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, that's what I've got for weather here. I don't expect anything's going to change over the course of this show, but if it does, I'll let you know.
Paul Goldschmidt might be the top play on the slate.
God, I hate it. Always, every time. All right. Cheese, give me a little slate breakdown.
So we have 2 extra games on FanDuel, which brings in a couple of really good options on both sides. Basically, the slate overview is Garrett Cole is like very clear chalk best pitcher. SP2 is pretty unclear, or non-Cole lineups on FD pretty unclear, and offense is really very well spread out. I mean, you can sort of top tier it, but it's definitely you can make a case to spread out on both sides other than the Garrett Cole chalk.
Okay. TJ, you want to add anything to that?
No, I agree completely. If you just look at the simple names on the slate and you see the ownership for Cole, it goes, wow, I got Bieber, Perez, Morton, Wheeler. There's so many great pivots. Castillo. But you see the matchup, and especially if you use the bat projections, you see a huge difference between Cole and everybody else. And so he's going to be the top guy by a mile. And Singer was somebody I was interested in for tournaments, even on FanDuel, just because of how he's been playing lately, and nobody's going to get there. And unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that because of the weather now. But I did find that there is, if we do get a late start there actually is a 2v2 I like in my lineup. I'm doing it with a Houston stack. So I can either play Cole with Dubon, or I can play Brady Singer with Yordan Alvarez. So that's going to be something I'm going to wait an hour and keep my eyes on, since that New York game doesn't start till 1:05.
Okay. Cheese, why don't you talk us through what you're doing pitcher-wise?
So, I mean, just play Garrett Cole in most of your lineups. But there is plenty of case. Like, there's so many good pitchers that if we just get an average Garrett Cole game, he's probably not the highest scoring pitcher on this slate just because of how many good pitchers there are. But like, the most likely scenario is he beats everyone by enough that you kind of have to have him even at the salary. On FanDuel, you can direct pivot, like, salary wise, to Wheeler, Bieber, and Castillo. Like, they're all over 10K. And because of that, like, nobody's going to play these guys. I think Wheeler is the very interesting one. It's always that risk reward matchup against Atlanta. Like, he probably gets beat by Cole pretty handily, but it's just not, it's not as far fetched as it might seem that Wheeler is the winner today. So I do like him. Joe Ryan against Detroit is kind of the big question mark. Like, he's supposed to be good. And he has been kind of good in easy matchups, which this is.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like him. And he's so bad against lefties for some reason. At 8,400, he has to be in the pool, but I just really want to spend up instead of doing that. And it's a similar spot with Lance Lynn in that rain game. If that game ends up playable, like, he's kind of too cheap for the skill set, but also, like, is he good? Not really. I think you got to spend up on FanDuel. It's totally fine to play Martin Perez, but he's just kind of no man's land for me. I so much love Brady Singer. I actually gave him the conviction tag on DraftKings. Like, if that game late starts, I'm way over the field on him everywhere. But without him, I think you're going to have to add Charlie Morton to the mix on FanDuel.
Gotcha. I mean, I feel a little bit better about things now, seeing how many good pitchers there are, that, like, fading that game. You got options, geez.
Yeah, it's not. There's no reason to lock yourself into a pitcher there because the pitching slate is loaded. It's just, this was the one guy that I absolutely love that's low owned. And
Singer, not Lynn.
Singer. And you hate to lose that spot because it's very rare that your favorite pitcher is like the lowest owned pitcher.
Right, I get you. All right. Okay, TJ, anything you want to add there at pitcher?
Nope, that pretty much covers it. I do like Singer was my guy on FanDuel as well for tournaments. If the weather was going to allow there, I do think if you're MMEing, you could take a couple shots on guys like Yusei Kikuchi, Charlie Morton. If I was going to fade one guy on DraftKings based on ownership, it would probably be Shane Bieber. Yeah, mostly the same thoughts. Okay. And we're also 10 likes away from our first Spidey bomb. So let's hit it. I'll do one at 50 and another at 75.
Okay, excellent. Okay, let's talk about some of the bats. TJ, you can lead us off here and talk about your favorite stacks.
Yeah, so my favorite stacks today are going to be Minnesota, Houston, Cleveland, and Toronto. Those are going to be the top four for me today. Toronto specifically, I really love the back half of this lineup. The Teoscar Hernandez, Matt Chapman, Danny Jansen. If I was going to have a wildly hot take today, it's going to be that those three guys, middle of the lineup for the Jays, back-to-back jacks in the second inning today. That's going to be my wildly hot take. So on that note, the first Spidey bomb is going to be Teoscar Hernandez. I think he's going to hit a home run today. But the Jays probably are the fourth team in that stack, just because projection-wise, I think they're going to be the least likely to hit. And so Minnesota, Cleveland, and Houston are going to be my top tier. And Toronto and Kansas City are the two teams I kind of like for tournaments.
Okay, excellent. Cheese, you want to walk through your favorite stacks for me?
I mean, I could, but he just pretty much said it. Like, I feel like he just like, did you read the musings today? What are you doing? No, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I think if you just look at projected total alone, Astros, Twins, Cleveland. I mean, it's just, that's very clearly the three teams. I don't absolutely love any of them. Like, this isn't like some slates you have. There's no way you can possibly fade this team. We just got a Minnesota line. Hey, Buxton's back, which boosts them even a little further. But that is your top tier. And totally agree with like Toronto. Anytime you get the game that's on one site but not on the other, it goes a little overlooked. And because they're in Tampa, the total's down a little bit. But man, this team is good against lefties. And they got, I don't know what Tampa's doing. The whole point of using an opener, I thought, was to make it better the first time through, but they're using a lefty opener and a lefty long reliever. So, well.
Yeah, that is weird. All right, let's go position by position. Cheese, you can lead us off a little catcher talk.
The Royals catchers are fantastic. On FanDuel, do not forget about Kirk and Jansen. I didn't notice if Gary Sanchez is in this Twins lineup.
He is not.
No. Okay, so that takes him out. Yeah, play Perez or Melendez, or play someone in your stack. There you go.
That's that. TJ, you want to add anything there, or play exactly that?
Play Perez, play Melendez, or play someone in your stack. Funny enough, I read the musings every day I play baseball, but I didn't today because it was just too early of a slate, and
It's
I
like
chose
3 in the
sleep
morning.
instead. Yeah. And so the other guys I'd be looking at outside of that group are the Blue Jays. It's Danny Jansen and Alejandro Kirk, and I actually like Danny Jansen more than I like Kirk.
Okay, first base.
Heading over to first base, we got up top, I like Vladimir Guerrero in tournaments, another Blue Jay. But Vinny Pasquantino all the way down at the bottom for 2,200, I find quite interesting. Another guy I like is Jose Miranda. Owen Miller, I like quite a bit. However, I'd rather play him at second base. And for tournaments, somebody I'm quite interested in is going to be Trey Mancini.
Okay. Cheese first.
It's very different between the sites here. I think on FanDuel, yeah, definitely play Guerrero if you can get him. On DK, we're going to see Mancini and Vinny P pretty chalky. Just like Vinny, I don't think will be chalky enough on FanDuel because you don't really need him. The real life production hasn't been there yet, but like he's hitting the ball very well. Like he is absolutely legit. I agree with Jose Miranda as kind of hopefully a little sneaky-ish, although because the Twins are popular, I think he'll be in most of the stacks. And I think this is a slate you're going to have to play somewhere a good hitter against a good pitcher with like a Matt Olson or Rhys Hoskins, Christian Walker, Anthony Rizzo. First base is a good place to do that, spend up against a good pitcher if the rest of your lineup's chalky.
Okay, take us to second.
Polanco for the money is my favorite guy. Altuve for the points is my favorite guy. Again, I'm going back to this Twins lineup. Polanco's in there. Yeah, okay. I should just read the whole lineup rather than just look at every position. Polanco and Altuve are my two favorite guys. I do like Owen Miller on DK a lot at his salary. Like FanDuel, he's cheap too. But I think I'd rather play Javi Baez on his own as a cheap guy if you're not getting up to Polanco or Altuve and Simeon's in the mix as well.
All right, TJ.
He did what I did to him. I got nothing else. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'll let Ms. Diaz, you can add as well.
All right, let's go to third then.
On third base, this is a position I like it's a strong position today. So you got Alex Bregman at 3K on FanDuel. You got Jose Ramirez all the way up top. Those are going to be two of the top options. You can play Jose Miranda here as well. But you also just have tons of strong one-off options. You got Yandy Diaz leading off against the lefty. Even better, you got Isaac Paredes, who's been absolutely smashing lefties, 2,800 on FanDuel, batting second. You can play Diaz here as well. You got Bobby Witt Jr., who's back from injury, and I like as a GPP play. Matt Chapman is one of my favorite plays on the slate, and I didn't even mention DJ LeMahieu, Matt Carpenter, Rafael Devers, or Austin Riley, who are all great.
Okay. Geez, did he steal the musings again and name them all?
I mean, there's so many good names here. Those are the highlights. I think my favorite play for the salary is going to be Bregman. And again, this is like he mentioned a bunch of the names. This is when you can be different just by playing somebody good, like, Devers, and even Jose Ramirez isn't going to be overly chalky because of how good the position is. But Bregman would be my first choice.
Okay. Take us to shortstop.
Everyone knows how much I love Corey Seager, but that actually, Correa is my top play today, and he's cheaper than Seager. So I'll go Correa 1, Seager 2, Bobby Witt 3, and then don't forget Bo Bichette on FanDuel.
TJ, short?
If I have the same thoughts as Cheese, that should mean I'm going to make a lot of money tonight, right?
Or
Today,
that everyone that plays is going to have the same thoughts, which
true.
Yeah.
Javi Baez, you can play here at short on FanDuel as well. Same with Aledmus Diaz. It's fun anytime the Astros are in a good spot and he gets a good batting position because you can play him at second, short, or third. I want to add Jeremy Pena as well. Shortstops batting second today on FanDuel, 2,900. He's probably my favorite pivot off of Carlos Correa. And then Ahmed Rosario and stacks I like playing as well.
All right, take us to the outfield.
Outfield position today, Yordan Alvarez is my favorite up top. I'm hoping, even though it's a lefty-lefty matchup and he's very expensive, I'm hoping that'll maybe drop his ownership a little bit. Teoscar Hernandez and Adolis Garcia are my two favorites in the next tier. I'd rather play them over somebody like a Ronald Acuna Jr. or a Kyle Tucker unless I'm stacking. Randy Arozarena is an interesting one-off option or mini stack. However, he hasn't been hitting the ball very well lately. Eloy Jimenez is still way too cheap, but the matchup's not great. A ground ball hitter against a ground ball pitcher. So most of my favorite guys are going to be up top here for outfield. I like spending up here quite a bit more than I like paying down.
All right, Cheese.
For like how deep the slate is at first and third, it's weirdly not deep in the outfield. Like, I agree with all those names you said, and spending up is good, but they're like the only guys there. So, like, if we had
and Buxton, of course, I have to refresh lineup HQ because he wasn't there in the last round. But Buxton is my favorite over Alvarez actually.
If we had a full slate, I would say Alvarez would absolutely go overlooked, but because we don't, like, really him and Buxton are it. Like, that's all you can even spend up on if you want to spend up. So I do think now, Buxton will come in ahead of Alvarez, but neither are going to be sneaky just because there's nothing else here. I think Teoscar on FanDuel and Adolis Garcia are my two favorite mid-tier guys. Riley Green would be my favorite cheap-ish on FanDuel. And then Trey Mancini on DK, my favorite cheapy-ish. Oscar Gonzalez, cheapy-ish as well.
Okay.
Cheapy-ish is the word of the day.
Okay, we'll take cheapy-ish. TJ, you got another Spidey bomb for us or no?
People aren't hitting the like button, and so we're actually still at 49. I gave the first one early. The first one is Teoscar Hernandez, and we'll give a second one if we get it up to 75.
Okay, that's fair. Cheese, you got a home run call?
We're gonna take Vinny P.
Oh, okay, very nice. I suppose since all I do is pick winners with these home runs, I'll throw in my name. This is going to be a little chalky. I like to go contrarian usually, but Yordan hitting a bomb. Yordan Alvarez guaranteed home run today. Except it's not really a guarantee. Don't hold that against me.
But if Roth says it, the same thing as a guarantee.
It's it's been working out pretty well. Okay, hey, we've got about 12 minutes here until lock. I'll go over my thoughts on Chicago one last time. I think the chance of some sort of rain delay in Chicago is 50% or higher, 50, 60%. The chance that it knocks out a pitcher is maybe 1 in 4, 20% or so, 1 in 5. I'm hoping that either the storms form south of Chicago and we're good, or they late start it. But if we don't see one of those things, then it's, playing a pitcher is risky. You could very easily lose your pitcher, and you could lose him early. There's a chance that you could get a rain delay in the second or third inning. So that's where I'm at.
You'll tweet us an update.
I will be tweeting updates all the way. I'll do one update before DK lock, see if anything changes, and then I'll do another one before the Chicago game. Woo Woo J Train says, "I put my whole bank account on Jordan hitting a home run. Thanks for the free money, Roth." You're welcome.
Yeah,
Feel good about it.
He just doubled his bank account.
All right, congratulations.
Quickly and easily.
Not even worried about it. All right, let's get into some of these QQs here. I'm pulling up the old RotoGrinders Discord. Scorekeeper says, "Geez, DK 6-game slate. Do we 4 or 5-man stack today? I feel like with the hot and humid weather that we home run hunt and just go with a lot of hot bats as of late. Thoughts?"
I have several lineups that did not end up with 5-man stacks. Basically, I think you don't have to just plan to 5-man stack, depending on where your salary ends up.
Okay. CLT Go Blue says, TJ, Boston looking sneaky in a GPP. Good pricing with Duran leading off.
They are looking sneaky. I don't think anybody is going to be playing them. I don't mind like a Duran, Pham, Devers, Bogart stack, and then if you're playing on DraftKings, you throw in Bobby Dahlbeck as well. They're not top of the board for me, but I definitely don't hate it.
Great. Cheese, what do you guys like any D-backs versus Beebs on DK? And then what about a Tiger stack, DK single entry?
I do like Christian Walker and kind of Varsho as one-offs against Bieber. If TJ had woken up early to read the musings, he would have read me say that if I could figure out how to hold a bat and stand on the left side of the plate, I don't think Joe Ryan could get me out either. I do like a Tiger stack. I don't like that I like it, but I absolutely do.
Okay, good. 1 second. Someone said, can I get an update on Atlanta weather? There's a very low chance of a pop-up shower or storm. So do whatever you want in Atlanta, and the chance of anything hitting you is very low. I think someone said Atlanta rain. There's a wee tiny little light shower around. And honestly, that's good because the light shower means that we're not seeing a thunderstorm develop. So that doesn't even bother me. Scrolling. I mean, we kind of caught up on all the questions here. Do we like Yankees versus Castillo in Yankees ballpark? Cheese, do you like Yankees versus Castillo?
I mean, just from the standpoint of if you're a multi-enterer, there is no justification to do anything other than have at least one Yankee stack every day, no matter what. Like, they're the best team by far, even without Judge. It's like they're so far ahead of the next best team in the league. I mean, yes, it's not high on the list. Castillo's really good, but you should always consider stacking the Yankees.
Carpenter's going to hit a bomb, right?
Well, yeah.
With his 434 ISO.
Yeah. I'll add a second bomb, Carpenter and Jordan. Take them both to the bank.
Having said that, I don't love a Yankees full stack, but I do really like a Carpenter Rizzo mini stack.
Okay. Speaking of which, Scorekeeper says, TJ, how many would you stack against your SP in a GPP? I like Castillo, but I also like the Yankees. So how many guys would you put against your pitcher? 1?
For me, on a slate this big, 0. If I'm playing on DraftKings where it's only 6 games and you need to play 2 pitchers, then I'd maybe be good with one. But on FanDuel on an 8-game slate, I'd probably just rather do something different.
Cheese, you have anything to add there?
I only play a batter against a pitcher with a very specific type of pitcher, which Castillo is not. I would do it with Bieber. I would play a Bieber lineup with Christian Walker. But Castillo, I'm either playing for him to be great or to get shelled.
Okay. But you like those pitchers. There are some of those really dominant pitchers, but who just give up a couple random one-off home runs. Like they're going to get 10 strikeouts, but they give up a bomb or two because they throw so hard.
Right. And the Mets-Washington matchup the other day would have been on a smaller slate. Absolutely, you could just rip Soto against Scherzer.
Yeah. And the Bieber type pitcher is like, all he does is throw strikes. He's going to give up a home run or two. He could pitch a complete game with 8 strikeouts, but give up 3 solo homers. Like that's just the kind of pitcher he is.
Gotcha. Okay. Good stuff. Let's see if there's any more questions here. We might end up getting out a little early. That's crazy. If you got any questions, bring them in. They can be about literally anything. Cheese likes to talk about food.
9 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 2.
Very good. Okay. Beaner says FanDuel GPP, your favorite pitcher, Cheese. The answer was it Strider or what was the guy's name?
That was last night.
Strider yesterday.
Sorry, what's the guy that
if weather allows, it's Brady Singer.
Strider, Singer. That's right there.
Yeah. Strider was awesome last night, as he usually is, by the way.
Yeah. I don't think if you want to throw a dart on it, I think that's fine. It's a GPP play. So if you want to roll it out, fine. But just know there is a legitimate chance of a delay in Chicago. So Singer is not.
And I'll just say, without that, like as obvious as Cole is, I think Wheeler is my favorite just long shot pivot off of Cole.
Great. Okay.
3 likes away for the next Spidey Bomb. So we are going to assume that we get it because, I trust the people. They're going to be getting it for us. And so Spidey Bomb number 2 today. I should have planned it out in advance. I want to say Danny Jansen, but I feel like I've already said him. So that would just be not giving the people enough. So we're going to go with Adolis Garcia.
Okay. The Cuban Missile. All right. Let's see. And was the first one Teoscar?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Dan Jan says, so Cheese, Tigers with Cole Perez, is that just getting too cute in single entry?
I don't really think it is. I mean, no, I don't think it is.
Okay. What are thoughts, TJ, on Urquidy in a GPP for SP2 over on DK?
My thoughts are no. If you want somebody in that price range, what's Urquidy price? 7,900. I would say you try and play Brady Singer, and then if that weather is looking like it's not going to work out, you can maybe pivot to Urquidy, but that's only if you couldn't afford Joe Ryan.
Gotcha. Swole says, what is the Spidey Bomb record this season? That's like 80, 90%, right? 95?
Like, truth be told, it's probably like 30 to 40%, which I feel like is pretty darn good for home runs.
Yeah. No, I think that's pretty good.
Only Roth can be like, say, 80% and feel like that's low.
Right.
For anyone else literally in the world, 80%, 50% would be amazing. But for Roth, he's like 80% is terrible.
I think you got to be, 90% or better. I'm an ace.
We can't all be Kevin Roth.
Right.
Knows all.
Let's see. Cheap catcher, Cheese under 3K.
Let me look at that. There aren't very many options, period. I guess Hedges.
Okay. Woo Woo J Train says, is it worth it on a slate like this playing one of those guys in Chicago at SP in a GPP? Is that a personal risk question? Like, I think it is more likely to work out than not, but there is a decent, 20-25% chance that it does not work out. And then you're going to feel not good about that.
What I will tell you, fine people, is unless Roth comes in with the this game is definitely getting delayed in the second inning. I'm playing Brady Singer on DraftKings. I don't think you need to do it on FanDuel, and I don't recommend it. I just like him too much on DK. But I'll have much less than I would have had in a no weather situation.
I like it. I think that is a good way to go about it. Let's see. We got a couple more minutes until lock. We'll see if we got a couple questions in. Dan Jan says, are we going to be back tonight? I'm going to be back tonight. Cheese, are you?
I think the answer is no.
Oh, wait. Am I going to be back tonight? I might have made that up.
No, you're definitely back.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't honestly know. I will find out later.
Yeah. There is a show, I think.
Yeah. Roth will be here with somebody.
Yeah.
You know,
Time,
TJ,
Roth, Cardi, and Keith.
There you go.
Totally different people, but you will be here.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you for that heads up. I was unaware.
Yeah. And thank you for that heads up, because now I know.
Yep, there you go. And you get to get your ice cream a little early. Okay, I think with that, we're going to get out of here. We actually did catch up on all the QQs, and we're headed up into lock. I'm going to keep you guys posted on Chicago weather via the Twitter at KevinRothWx. So make sure you are following me there. For Cheese, for TJ, and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you later on today. You have been crunched.